What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful day today. Beautiful day. Clear sky. Slight breeze. South to west today. About, I don't know, about less than a mile an hour it looks like. Maybe 0.87. So here I am. I was out in the desert today. Very hot. So it was like, I don't know, it was like 80, 85 here in LA. Then I went out to the desert and I go to a truck stop up there. That's my pit stop. I make a stop at the truck stop. I go in there, may get some food. They have food in there, beverages. I get beverages in there. And they have gas. So I usually fill up there, make sure I have a full tank. Now if I have 3/4 tank, I will not fill up. I will fill up on the way when I leave. That way, I get the most out of it when I leave. Today I had plenty of gas when I got there, and I filled up after. So I went up there with my daughters, got some beverages, we got food, and then we went to the reservoir, not the reservoir, the aqueduct area. And but it was hot, so I was gonna say it was like 85 here. We got up there, it was almost 100. It's like 90, 98, right? And I got out of the car and I felt like, oh, the heat, but it was dry, so it doesn't bother me as much. Still bothers me a little bit. So I have one of these things. Look at that, copper, solid handle, right? Has a little O-ring here. You can hang it up somewhere if you have a nail. Hang it right up. But I've been looking for one of these. Now you can find cheap ones. This is a high quality one. High quality one, and I appreciate it for one reason. Cowboy movies. So when I was a kid, I would watch a lot of westerns. Bonanza, Big Valley, what was I get? Rifleman, Rifleman. And anything that was, even a movie western, like Clint Eastwood, right? Good, the bad, and the ugly, all of those. And I would enjoy them. I still enjoy them. I still watch those shows. But what I love that some of these guys carried something like this, right? And it would be, in the pouch, which the horse would carry. And they would stop by a river, or stream, or springs, or something like that, and they'd pull this thing out, and they fill it with water, and they drink, and I visited a place, it's a town that is basically on top of springs. Not springs where you're bouncing around, but water. And everywhere you go, there's faucets, right? There's little cement things where they have a hole and a little pipe that comes out and water comes down. It's all free. And they have these things hanging. They have them hanging next to these things, and so strangers come up and they fill up and they drink. Now you have to rinse it really well, otherwise you may come down with something. You may come down with strep throat, mononucleosis, something like that. So you have to wash it really well. I don't really use the ones that the public uses, my own. But that's where I would see these and I go, I love those Western guys that have these things, right? So I ended up getting one. And can't wait to use it. I'll go out there, nice spring water, fill it up, take a little drinky poo. So yeah, and also you're making a big pot of beans, lentils. You could use this, scoop them out, fill up your bowl. Probably a couple of these, maybe 3, I don't know, depending on how hungry you are, will fill up your belly. Yeah, I'd say 3 of these, maybe 2, I don't know. But it's really high quality, riveted in, copper, This is bronze, I think, this top thing. So I highly recommend this. You see one of these, pick it up. I have another one. It's a different shape. I mean, it's more like a, I don't know. I'll make a video about that another time. Maybe I already did that, because I have the other one for many years. But this handle doesn't go in this angle. It goes up like, you know, like that. So anyway, you need these things. You never know. You never know. Go out there, make some lentils in the desert or up in the mountains. It's tougher to you know, cook in the mountains. I don't do the mountain cooking unless the mountain is bare, because you could start a fire, and I'm very nervous about starting fires out here. It's very dry, and a little bit of a spark, before you know it, if you can't put it out, you know, like quickly, that thing will spread. And then once it becomes a certain size, there's nothing you can do physically as an individual. You need, like, you know, help, like from the sky. You need, you know, firefighters. So I don't mess around with areas where there's thick vegetation, trees, things like that. If I cook anything, I do it in the desert where there's nothing to burn. You know, I don't go by shrubs. So I'm in an open area in the desert. I'll cook there, and I'm very careful. I have, you know, I mean, a lot of times you don't see it on camera, but I have a lot of water with me when I'm doing something like that. A lot of water, and generally I use places that are approved for outdoor cooking. So yeah, but I find the desert extremely safe. I will dig a hole in the ground about, I don't know, 1.5 feet down, and then I'll fill it up with charcoal, and then I'll put like bricks or something around the perimeter, and I'll put a grate on top, and I'll cook. And I don't like to cook with that kind of a fire when it's breezy out. You know, if I have you know, something that's like you know, a portable thing, you know, where I can control it, it could be a little breezy, but there can't be any kind of trees or, you know, shrubbery or, you know, stuff like that, especially dry stuff. But like I said, I always have a ton of water with me in case something jumps. I'm out there with the water. So yeah, but you know, I don't like the mountain stuff. The mountain stuff is very dangerous for cooking. Anything could happen, you know. I mean, you look at it and you go, hey, I can handle that. I'll cook. How's the fire gonna get out of here? It won't. But you never know. You never know. Something happens, you're not paying attention, charcoal falls over, or ember or something gets blown over, you don't notice it, it goes into the forest, some leaves have gathered there, then all of a sudden it ignites. By the time you see something, like a tree is lit. So I don't really do any of that. I never cook in the mountain area. So here I got something for later, because now I'm going to eat lasagna. It's a night for lasagna. I have it in the oven. Another 5 or 6 minutes should be done. What I have here, chamomile. Look at that. Chamomile, Bonomelli, since 1908. Caffeine-free, all natural, with all the parts of the flower of the chamomile. Product of Italy. This is from Italy. So it shows you how the whole process here. They analyze the soil first, then they prep the fields, then they do the sowing, planting there, then they go to the harvest, then they dry it out, then they select, flower selection, it says, blending. I guess they blend it with other, you know, chamomiles, and then here the final step, you sit down and relax while you sip it. So I don't know if you can see that, but freeze your screen, you know. I'm not gonna hold it like an hour here, but I could, but not necessary, right? So, product of Italy, blended and packed in Italy. So they're basically telling you everything is done in Italy. Everything. You know, every once in a while, you'll see, it happens often here in LA, but somebody trying to outrun the cops in their car. Meantime, there's a helicopter about 300 feet above them. I know at that moment you're not thinking clearly, you're nervous, you're thinking about, I'm going to go to jail for this, I got to get, escape. But first of all, you're probably in your own car, so they have the plate. And even if it's not your car, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? They're going to get you and you're just going to be tired. So best thing is pull over. I know it's very hard. Some people, they feel like, yeah, I don't want to, maybe if they've been in jail or something, they don't want to go back. So they try and outrun the cops. But once that helicopter goes up, unless there's like a big forest with multiple roads and it's got thick vegetation on top, so the helicopter becomes obsolete, right? You go into the forest and maybe somehow you can outrun the cops, but even then, I mean, they could see you. What are you gonna do? You have to be really far ahead of them to take a quick left in a fork where they confuse it and they don't know where he went. But then they got multiple cop cars. One of them will say, go left. They'll go left, they'll find you. But there are some that do escape. I remember one time I was watching a Hot Pursuit. Cops were chasing, a bunch of cop cars were chasing this one guy. He had a fast car. And he ended up going in some, I don't know, complex unit. He must have known about it. I don't know. He went in there and then it had a underground garage or something. He escaped. They couldn't find him. They went in there, they looked, they couldn't find him. So I don't know what happened, if he knew of a secret room and he drove in there and they shut the door. I don't know. But, and in real life, they're not as, they're dramatic, but they're not like the ones you see on, in a movie on television or something, like Streets of San Francisco, or even that movie with Steve McQueen, where it's known for its car chase. They don't really do those kind of things. They don't really jump the car. They don't really, they don't do any of that. I mean, they drive like nuts. So you'll be on a highway and you look in the rearview mirror and somebody's coming behind you at 100 and they're kind of weaving in and out. That's about as dangerous as it gets, the weaving in and out, and then they lose control. They smash into a tree, or they'll fall into a ditch, or they'll flip the car over. But in the movies, it's a lot more dramatic. Yeah. And I don't know why they even bother chasing them. Just have the helicopter follow them until they run out of gas. And then, go get them. So, yeah. I always think, no matter how fast you are, they radio ahead. They get the speed of light technology. They'll be like, yeah, he's on the 405, and then you'll get like cops that are about 10 miles ahead of that point, whatever exit you radio in, and then they'll just cut you off. Or they'll put that track with the nails in it, and they'll flatten your tires, and then you'll be driving on the rim for about a minute, all sparks flying, and then that's it. They'll get you. But yeah. I had a dream when I was a kid, and I was wanted in my dream. I was probably like, I don't know, 12. I was little, and in my neighborhood we had a Boy Scout center. It wasn't close to my house, but it was about a few miles away, but we would always drive by it. And in my dream, that's part of the scene. So I don't know what I'm wanted for, first of all. I think I'm innocent in the dream, and they're looking for me. And I'm on the radio. I can hear the radio description of me, television showing pictures, and I'm hiding in bushes. So at some point, I'm at this Boy Scouts of America building, and there's like a driveway made out of concrete on the right-hand side. and I see the cops like surrounding the area, like somebody tipped them off. They're like, yeah, we saw him, he's here. So there's a car parked, and I go into the car, and I'm like, just frozen. And then I could see the cop boots walking around the car, and my heart is like really pumping. I'm like, they're gonna get me. I'm caught here. There's no way, whatever. And somehow nobody says, hey, look under the car. Maybe he's under the car. Nope, nothing. And then they leave, and I get up, but I wake up eventually. It was like a long dream. I had to get up, so it got cut short. So yeah, some dreams I enjoy. I enjoy the drama. Your heart, boom, 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 and you're running, and then it's not real, and you're like, oh, that was just a dream. There are other dreams that are just repeats. Like there's a scene in a dream, and it just keeps playing over and over, and you can't escape it. Today I had one of those non-escapable dreams. I don't like those dreams. They keep me up. I don't get a full night's sleep. I like the ones that have a little excitement in them, but they're plots that you kind of understand. It's not colors or water splashing or weird stuff. It's a real plot. So I have that where I'm trying to escape. But the escape dreams are my favorite. That suspense. Am I going to make it? Are they going to get me? I have a bunch of those. And then I like the ones where I'm in weird situations. Like sometimes I'll be in a plane flying, and then the plane will lose power and land in a congested city road system. And with this big, 747 or Airbus 380 or whatever. And all of a sudden we're heading towards we're trying to get lift, and there's big skyscrapers in front of us, and a lot of times we barely make it, like barely, like by an inch or two from hitting the buildings. Another time I remember we're heading right into a tunnel, and the pilot's trying to pull back to get the plane to go up, and I'm looking, and I don't know, somehow I could see through the front, and we're going right for the tunnel, and the very last second I could feel the plane and pulling up. Some other times I'm on the outside of the plane holding onto the wing, and my fingers are slipping, but behind me there's a bunch of people that are holding onto my legs. So it's not just me letting go, it's the people behind me that I think, what, I can't let go, because they're going to be squashed on the ground. But I never see the ending of these, because generally, I wake up before the tragedy happens. Used to be a dream I was being chased by a bear, and just as I get to the cliff, I wake up, because then there's a cliff, and I could hear the bear. I can't see the bear, I could hear the bear. But then one time I had the same dream, and I said to myself in the dream, don't wake up. See what happens. So I jumped off the cliff, and I just landed. I did like a jump, and I landed. It was fine. Another time I was up on a tree, and I slipped, and just as I'm about to hit the ground with my feet, I woke up. I was like, oh, glad I didn't hit the ground. I had the same dream the following night, and I said to myself in the dream, don't wake up this time. Fell off the tree from the top, and I landed on my feet. Didn't even hurt me. So nothing happens, obviously. What's going to happen to you? You're going to survive it, and you're going to have another dream another day. Anyway, I'm going to check on the lasagna, and I'm going to end it right here, because I feel like the lasagna is done. So this is it for now. Ciao.